and we come back for our tea. And various other little jobs we used to do, such as odd bits of shopping or going and getting some beer for my father. In the morning before breakfast. And in the evening. On fine Sundays. He used to call for volunteers Sunday morning and we used to get up and go. We weren't dressed in our best then, across the Bunces meadows, which was rather nice, with the cows and all the various spring flowers in it, larks singing, thrushes. We used to pick some mushrooms sometimes, but my father'd never eat them because I don't think he trusted them. He gave them to his brother. But his brother ate them and he lived, so I suppose there must have been mushrooms and not toadstools. Oh, my father was funny like that. He made me laugh when he used to have his winkles with Sunday tea. He used to smell everyone on his pin, and if he thought it was a bit umpty, it used to go round the table nearly, you smell it, you smell it. Well, I'm afraid if they'd all smelt my winkle, I wouldn't have meant it. But this went on time and time out of number. And when he was in the army, he was given a knife and a fork and a spoon, like all the troops. And when he came home, he always used them. He used this fork for everything. And if it smelt of fish, the next time he had it, he always smelt it before starting a meal. If it smelt of fish, it got thrown out the window or something. My mother had forgot to dig it in the garden because there wasn't various washing up liquids and things that would take the smell of fish off of a fork in them days. Who says it's a toad? It's a frog.
A toad.
How do you know it's a toad? Oh, poor little... Why is it all lumpy? Look at its little insides going up and down, up and down. What's those bally bits on it? It's up near its neck. I thought toads were uglier than frogs. Oh, ain't it a little darling? Shall we take it home?
No.
Why not?
Took it home, it jumped out.
You could put it in the garden. It would find somewhere that would still... Isn't there many more around it?
Yeah, well, we found...
Oh, look, he's gone down there. Get him. Put him back where he was.
We found a frog nest or something down by the pond.
Frogs go across the land to lay their... They go across the land to the water to lay their spawn on the water, and then they come back on land, don't they?
Yeah, we saw some frogs down there. Yeah, we saw our family.
Do you know, Barry, I can't help thinking what a team you are. You've still got my 2 shirts. Well, when you were a child, we was outside this Holland Garden Park, which was on a hill, and you could see quite a way across London, when a little voice said to me, if I had a powerful pair of binoculares, I could see right across there. I've had a fortnight away, but he's got another fortnight. He should have been there and heard some tales about me. I was supposed to have been a awkward creature with great long arms and legs. The arms and legs bits are true, but they were always mauve, according to Violet. They might have been in the winter weather, because my sleeves, I always used to wear out the sleeves of everything, much to my mother's disgust, you know. But I can't remember being mauve all the time, and I can't remember being all that clumsy, because I'm not a clumsy person now, but then there you are.
Tell us about the people in the family. Tell us about your mother. You haven't said anything about your mother.
Oh, my mother was a hard-working woman, nerves of iron, nothing worried her. She just got on with it, you know, these various things like the women did in them days, because they worked hard, I suppose, when you come to think of it.
Where did she come from?
She came from near the Elephant and Castle. And she was too handy with her hands, you know. She'd send you shopping, various shops, various things. You'd come back one day, Mum, they didn't have your soap in there, wallop, smack round the face. Get it somewhere else, I've got to have it. Come back another day, they haven't got it, so you've gone into another shop. I've got it in so-and-so, wallop, you know I don't trade in that dirty shop. You could never satisfy my mother. It was wallop for this and wallop for that. But my father very rarely hit us. He used to shout at us more than... I can only remember him hitting me twice. And that was when I was grown up. But my mother was always hitting us. You never knew where you stood. If the change was 8 short, wallop for that. If the change was over, which it wasn't very often, we saw to that as we grew up, that was wrong still. And that, but I suppose when I come to think of it, and looking back and that, what other people had told me, I suppose it was quite a happy childhood, really. Apart from I couldn't stand my hair washed, I was frightened water over my face. She used to put it over too hot and make me go like that, and that didn't please me. I think I was a nervous type of child, wanted leading more than driving. Well, my mother used to drive and it suited the others all right. They weren't like me, I suppose. My eldest sister, Lily, she'd tittle-tale all the time. Mum, Gertie's done this. Mum, Violet's done that. And one day, she was clever, she made herself a little candle out of the droppings off of a big one and stood it under the net curtains and caught 'em alight. Of course, we never had a light in our bedroom anymore after that, thanks to Lily. Violet was always clouting me. Sometimes, well, most of the time was as matey as anything, but then Violet was a bit on the spiteful side and she used to hit me, but I used to hit her back or try to hit her back and that, but they are. If the girls from school coming home with us, we always used to gang up and have a little fight back, but Lily was never in that. Lily was too ladylike, so Lily thought. Lily could play the piano quite well. She played us in at school as various girls did. Of course, Violet and I couldn't.
Why was she called Lily?
Well, after me mother, I suppose. It was only recent years that I found out that my mother's name was Sarah Lillian. But she didn't like the name of Sarah, so she was always called Lily. But I myself prefer Sarah.
What about Connie and
Well,
Ernie and
Connie was Charlie, the one that died, came after me. Then there was Connie. But Connie was spoilt rotten until Ernie came along, and then she was pushed aside, and she was sort of a bit jealous of Ernie, and she used to push him about a bit and that, and me mother, you know, sort of used to pick on her, I always thought. When she was 16, she left home, went round with a travelling circus, eventually married the man that she's had 4 children. And as far as I know, Hans Brick. I don't know what his real name is, but his name he used in the circus was Hans Brick. He was an Austrian, I think. Austrian-German descent. But she apparently married him. We haven't seen or heard of her for some years.
And what was his name?
Oh, he was a lion tamer, and he used to put his head in the lion's mouth and all that caper. Trouble, I expect she had quite an interested life. At one time she lived on Chessington Zoo with him, and she used to come over with chickens. I reckon she'd killed them on the way over herself, wrung their neck for me. I didn't mind, the chickens were all right. And quarts of milk she used to bring over. She carried the bag sometimes, I don't know. But she always managed to scrounge something off of me before she went back, such as clothes for her eldest boy, which was a bit younger than my two.
And Joan?
Oh, Ernie came next. He was, a bit of an effeminate sort of lad, I suppose. He would be in a family of girls for some while. And then there was Joan, the youngest sister. Of course, we were all older then. We used to take her out and make a proper fuss of her. Very shy she was, though, if you met anybody. Hard work, you know, to make her talk to anyone.
And what happened to her?
Oh, she went to the ATS in the last war and met a Scotch fella, and she married him, and I think she's quite happy. She lives on the outskirts of Birmingham now. I don't very often see her because the distance is too far to go. The one I see mostly is Violet. Lily lives at Guildford. Lily and I never got on very well together, and I don't think I've seen her since my father died at the funeral.
When did your father die?
Oh, over 25 years ago now, because Geoffrey wasn't born. And Geoffrey's 25, isn't he?
And your mother?
Well, my mother died about 3 years ago. She was, 84, was she? Something like that.
What about your great-grandmother?
Oh, my great-grandmother, she was 97, I think, when she died. She was a bit of a lad, so the tourists go. Worked hard, had lots of children. And apart from that, things my mother told me that no one spoke about her because she'd given a good hiding, let's look at them.
Didn't she come from some moneyed family?
She did come from a moneyed family, and she didn't get her share because she married too early.
So what was her name?
Her name was Annie Downham before she married, and then she married Thomas Sutherland, so he was a Scot. Apparently there was only 4 of them, 2 boys and 2 girls, and one of the boys, so my mother said, used to travel with Livingstone, the explorer. But they both died rather early, the boys, and the girls lived, one was 98, one was 97.
Travelled
And
with
they-
Livingstone?
Well, so my mother said he did. It was Stanley, you know, who went to look with Livingstone. He used to travel with Stanley, and he was the one that was around the same time as Livingstone, because he was the one that found Livingstone. But whether he was on that trip or not, I wouldn't know, but he was always going abroad.
And what was his name?
Well, his name was Downham. I don't know what his Christian name was. I never asked me mother his Christian name. But I know he used to bring her gifts from all over the world, because although my mother's mother didn't get her inheritance, this one used to